Hey, let's brew a West Coast Pilsner. Hey guys, so second video out here. Please forgive me. I'm still very bad at filming. Still trying to figure out the sound quality. I have this mic now, which I think is gonna add some better sound quality, especially when I'm doing my tastings outside and there's wind and squirrels and birds and who knows what else. So please be kind. But today we're brewing West Coast Pilsner. So what is a West Coast Pilsner? It's a fun new concept, and I'm not sure if any of you had a Timbo Pils by Highland Park Brewery. They're the ones that coined the term. They're a brewery out of California, and they created this term of kind of like a super hoppy Pilsner made with modern hops. Their beer starts with pretty traditional hops, about 40 IBUs of Sapphire, I believe, German hop, pretty standard base, but that's where the similarities end. They end up adding about 5 ounces of Mosaic and 2 ounces of Citra for a 5-gallon batch. It becomes this super fruity, light drinking beer that also has those awesome hop notes that you're used to seeing like IPAs. So big appeal there. I've had a couple of local beers here in Chicagoland that have really impressed me personally. There were West Coast Pilsners or local interpretations of it, and I'm excited to brew one of these on my own. So here we go. We're going to start with a pretty simple grain bill. I'm going to use 95% Pilsner malt. I'm going to use one called Hana malt from Crisp Maltings, and then 5% Munich malt from Weyermann. And this is actually pretty interesting because the Hana malt is a heritage Czech malt, which, if I may talk about it for a minute, is a very impressive description. The Hana variety of barley was first developed and grown in the Hana area of Czech Moravia, an area of Europe long fabled for its high-quality malting barley. Hana's early claim to fame was that it made up the mash of the first ever golden blonde Pilsner lager, which was created in 1842 by the Bavarian brewmaster Joseph Groll at the Pivovar of Pilsner in Bohemia. So super impressive. Poor Joseph Groll is probably going to be turning in his grave knowing that I'm dumping in a bunch of Amarillo hops in the dry hop here. But hopefully I'll make him proud with the rest of the beer. So here's my plan. For hops, I want to go all Amarillo. I've been personally really curious to explore that hop. I've liked it in New England IPAs. I've liked it in IPAs, but never brewed with it on its own. So this is going to be somewhat of a smash beer in that sense. Here's my plan. Half ounce of Amarillo at 60 minutes. 1 ounce at 18 and 1 ounce at 7 minutes. This is gonna give us about 40 IBU in a boil. Then we're gonna add 2 ounces of Amarillo Cryo and Whirlpool and 2 more ounces of Amarillo Cryo in a dry hop, as well as 2 ounces of regular Amarillo in the dry hop around the same time. I'm going to ferment this beer with W347, pretty classic lager yeast. I believe Timbo Pils also uses the same yeast, just to really dry this beer out and make it super crispy. So that's pretty much it. I'm really excited to brew this beer, so enough talking here. Let's go brew this up. How's it going? We're back. We're back with the Amarillo Pilsner here. It is ready to drink. A little hazy in the bottle still, or in the can, sorry. But out of the keg, it's perfectly clear. Here's the cans. Look how cool these came out. I'm very excited about these. The label's finally going alongside with the sort of branding that I made up, and I think it's really coming together. As for Pilsner, I think it's like a really core part of like Secret Level for what it is, an Instagram account. And I'm really surprised. I've brewed more Pilsners before this, but here is the Amarillo Pils. One of the very first and very beautiful. Nice golden color. The head was pretty present here before, but I took some time setting up the equipment, so it's kind of gone, but oh, it smells really good. And I tasted the pre-dry hop product quite a bit. I kegged the beer before adding the dry hops, and I must have drank about a gallon before I finally dry hopped it, and it was tasting wonderful. The malt was coming through pretty well, that Hana malt. It was truly beautiful. And then the hop presence was pretty mellow, but it was like nice, light, limey, fruity presence, nothing crazy. I would say pretty in line with like an American Pilsner guideline. And then I added 2 ounces of Cryo Amarillo and 2 ounces of regular Amarillo, and it looked like a New England IPA, so I had to add some gelatin to make it look like an actual lager Pilsner. Can't complain about this beer at all. Let's go in for a little aroma and a flavor. Nice and fruity. It's kind of gets that Citra note almost. It's like a fruity vibe, kind of almost tropical. Oh, that's great. Okay, well, time to do a little flavor sample. Oh, it's nice and light. That's perfect for a nice hot 4th of July weekend here. Gosh, that's awesome. Okay, a little orangey maybe. Yeah, so I'm definitely getting that like navel orange, kind of like orange juice, but those craft orange juices that are made in store fresh rather than, you know, like a minute made from the shelf. So it's like that fresh kind of juice. It's got that deep orange character. Not super complex, but I can't complain, you know, like in a beer like this, hop flavors probably shouldn't be too crazy and complicated. Very nice, yeah. Maybe a little lemon in there, maybe a little grassy note in there, but overall it's pretty fruity and pleasant. Kind of tastes like a very light IPL almost. So let's talk about that Hana malt. I don't know if I find it as present anymore in the beer. I think it's kind of lacking character due to the sheer amount of dry hop that was involved and hops in here in general. So they kind of do overpower the malt, and the malt was coming through a lot more before the dry hop, but what are you gonna do? You know, you either want explosive hop flavor or like a malt hop balance. So maybe I'll look out for that in the future, but would I brew with that Hana malt again? I think so. I think it works really well in like more classic style. So if I was gonna make like a German or a Czech Pilsner, it would work wonderfully. West Coast Pils, probably not, just because the hops overpower basically any malt character that's even remotely present, even the 5% Munich that I added. But gosh, can't complain about this beer either way. Brew this beer again? I think 500% yes. It's a very nice light summer drinker, and I can't believe I didn't explore hops more through this type of style. So, you know, like I've been wanting to explore sorts of hop combinations, so I think I'm gonna take that on in the future. It's brewing like, I have a bunch of Eldorado, maybe like an all Eldorado Pilsner to see what it really brings to the party. Maybe I'll also brew like a CTZ and Citra one just to like have those classic hops complement new style American hops. I think that would be something really interesting. And then finally, one note that I'd like to make about this is that I would like to make it a little drier of a beer. So like the Czech lager specifically, and German lagers specifically, Pilsner Urquell is super dry, and it has this like drying character, has a sharp bitterness. I would say this is very much lacking that, even though I used higher sulfate than chloride. I just didn't quite get there with my water profile and with the sharp taste profile. So maybe I'll use some classic traditional hops and really boost that sulfate, at least for my base water profile, to about 150 ppm, maybe even 200 ppm. I want to see how that goes. I just really like make it crispy, a little bit more drying. Plus, my yeast also finished at 1010 final gravity, so it didn't really go down to like 1008 or 1006 like I would have preferred for like a Pilsner. But what are you gonna do? You can't complain. In the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy drinking the Timbo Pilsner. So happy summer, everyone. Happy 4th of July. Cheers.